Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Leaving a comment, a like, or subscribing or hitting the notification bell helps out the channel immensely. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Another dramatically, ridiculously weird news day that we have in front of us. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin price prediction. Bitcoin enters pre-halving accumulation phase. Time to buy? Question mark. For those of you who missed the news yesterday, or maybe even the beginning of today, prices have been rising. This is off of lower than expected inflation data. I believe it came in, there we go, at 7.1%. A lot of people were thinking it would still come in around 8% or whatever the case might actually be. There's a lot of optimism rolling around as people expect potentially the Fed might not announce that they're going to be raising interest rates as high as they did before. It says Bitcoin's price 2023. Arthur Hayes identifies a major catalyst for a Bitcoin price rally. It's the stock market moving. There's nothing else that is going to do it at this point. I've been in crypto for so long that I've seen what actual movements look like. What happens when good things happen in the news and when bad things happen in the news. When banks collapse, when countries collapse, when fiat currencies collapse, when fiat currencies do well. The normal movement of Bitcoin usually follows those. But nope, those days are now long gone, as we have given over nearly all control to the corporations and to the banks who are holding massive amounts of Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market move exactly where the stock market is moving as well. It's really funny because it actually even mentions it somewhere inside here that basically the idea is if the stocks do well, that's going to be the major catalyst for a Bitcoin price rally. It says Bitcoin zeroes in on $18,000. Can Bitcoin upside breakout materialize? Yeah, of course. As long as we get good news today, Bitcoin's price will probably go over $18,000. There's nothing actually stopping it from moving in that direction, and there hasn't been anything really stopping it from moving in that direction for over a year and some change. A lot of people were told to sell off their coins because of the FTX fiasco drama clown show that's still going on, but nothing bad has happened to Bitcoin. The accumulation has still been there. We've been going over, for those of you who've missed it the last couple of weeks, the amount of whale accumulation news has been above and beyond. People are buying whales are buying massive amounts of cryptocurrencies while prices are down. We got news a couple of days ago that I believe whales who have Ether, I think they now have almost 70% of all the Ether on the planet. Why? Because they convinced everyone else to sell off their coins and they've been buying at the exact same time. That's just how it always works out. So can Bitcoin hit 18,000? Yeah, there's nothing stopping it except for, nonsense. Also in the news, it says Litecoin mega whales have accumulated nearly $220 million worth of Litecoin in just 5 weeks. Analyst firm Sentiment says crypto whales have spent the most recent portion of the bear market gobbling up the peer-to-peer payments network Litecoin. Sentiment has noted that Litecoin addresses that own more than 1 million Litecoin are holding their highest level of available Litecoin since June 2021. The so-called mega whales have accumulated 2.95 million Litecoin in just 5 weeks. So the answer seems to be the same over and over and over. As I told you about 3.5 weeks ago, this is the next phase of it. Something terrible happens. You're told to be afraid. Whales begin to accumulate. We get tons of accumulation news. And then usually there's a movement up in price. It's the same every single cycle, all the time. It never changes. So once again, for those of you over the last couple of weeks who were buying when prices were down, kudos to you, because you probably have been here for a couple of other cycles before. It says XRP whales bullish ramping up accumulation in recent weeks over the past 5 weeks. What happened 5 weeks ago? It's almost like some major event took place. Known as whales on the XRP ledger have boosted their holdings dramatically, moving from 16.7% to 18.3% of the total supply. The first number is wrong, but it says to around 3.9 million. It's clearly not $39,000. Yeah, so once again, the whales are buying up massive amounts of coins all over again. There's a lot of news a couple of days ago about Ripple apparently unlocked a huge amount of coins from their, from the custody thing that they have, and apparently that was nearly all sold off, leading to speculation that there are some other big companies or banks behind the scenes who are buying massive amounts of XRP in anticipation of prices moving upward over the course of 2023. Also, in I guess price news, I'm not really sure. The price has moved up. We can only assume it also has to do with this. Coinbase has announced they are actually going to be supporting the Flare airdrop for XRP holders. For those of you who have no idea what that is, back in December 2020, is 1,000 years ago, there was basically a screenshot that was taken for people who were holding XRP to receive something called the Flare token in an airdrop for something at the time. I think a lot of people were expecting an airdrop in like a month or something like that, but it's been over 2 years at this point. According to a series of tweets Coinbase shared with its users, the airdrop will be distributed to XRP holders in supported jurisdictions. The exchange clarified that it cannot guarantee support for any particular jurisdiction, and that Flare trading is expected to be generally available in Coinbase's supported jurisdictions. Yeah, cool, got that part already. Here's a tweet for it right here. So apparently it will not be available in Germany, Japan, New York, and Singapore. Apparently everyone else is getting it. It is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio for XRP, but still no date as to when this airdrop is going to happen. I assume the optimism is there, and therefore people were buying up XRP or hoping in anticipation of, I don't know what's going on. It says Bitcoin's price and Ethereum prediction, today's US FOMC and FED expectations. Yesterday, we heard that inflation had moved down. It was not as high as it previously was before. It's still extremely high. Understand that the world reserve currency should not be above 7% inflation levels. But alas, a lot of people were very excited. The second part is that today the Fed is going to talk to us and apparently just tell us if they're going to be raising it by 0.75% or 0.5%. If they say 0.75, expect prices across the board to go down, and then in like 2 or 3 days, they start going back up again. It's always the same exact garbage. But if they announce it is only going to be by 0.5%, expect prices to rally like they did yesterday. Prices rallied in the stock market because the anticipation was that inflation might have been a little bit higher. It actually was lower, and therefore they think that the Fed might start their pivot and say, okay, things are getting under control. We're not going to be raising interest rates as much as we did before. Yep. So everyone's waiting, anticipating, seeing exactly what's going to take place. I dare not say very exciting times. It's more like I'm waiting to see what the Fed says so that every other market can react because, crypto just doesn't do that anymore by itself. That's all the price news that we have. Prices aren't green. Stock markets aren't green. Stock futures aren't green. The other stock markets around the world that have opened up already are also in green in anticipation of what the Fed is possibly going to say. Yeah, we'll see in a couple of hours. Let's move on. In odd news, Charles Hoskinson once again is out and about, or should I say oot and aboot, co-founder and CEO at Input Output Global, the blockchain technology firm responsible for the development of Cardano, recently explained how Solana could become a partner of Cardano. According to a report by the Daily Huddle during a surprise Ask Me Anything on the 10th of December, Hoskinson said, for 6 years now, we've been talking about this, which is weird because Solana hasn't been around for 6 years, and I don't even think Cardano has as well. Thinking about this, pushing this forward, this concept that you have one main chain and a family of side chains, and each and every one of them does different things, okay? And the side chain model of Cardano is that if a side chain comes in and connects to Cardano, that side chain is a partner of the main chain. The main chain provides security, it provides infrastructure, it provides an ecosystem, and it provides liquidity. It's listed on 200 plus exchanges, all these types of things, so you have all that scale, and in exchange for that, the partner chain, instead of paying its inflation to miners who are a nexus within that chain, it pays inflation, the block rewards, to the stake pool operators and the ADA holders because Cardano's taking care of the security of the side chain. So you could take Solana, replace the current consensus algorithm with something 25 times faster, and that doesn't collapse all the time. Make it a Cardano sidechain. Solana would then be paid to ADA holders to maintain it, probably at a lower inflation rate than they're currently paying right now. I don't know where to begin. One, I'm not sure where this fascination is coming from of adding Solana as a sidechain. Two, my speculation is that Charles Hoskinson probably is friends or relatives with and or partnered with at some point. This is speculation, of course, with the people who made Solana. He's been mentioning Solana a lot the last couple of weeks, and it's really weird that he's picked up his mentioning of Solana after we heard that the people from FTX were so heavily invested in Solana. So I assume there's some kind of connection there because all these people know each other. I told everyone before years ago that Solana was garbage, and I'm glad that some people listen to me. So this will probably apparently still be a huge discussion that's going to be going on. If it happens, I doubt it. I think the people from or who like Solana are so headstrong because they think it could be the new Ethereum, which is never going to happen. I don't know how I could phrase that in any. I'm going to try and say it in other languages at some point as well, just so maybe everyone out there completely understands. Sure, this was also quite popular news. I think it has to do with the fact that it's big spoken about chain, talking about big spoken about chain merging together or using each other in some type of a weird symbiotic relationship. The people from the people from Solana, they don't think that there's actually a problem. We've heard them speaking before, the people who maintain the hardware and stuff like that for the database. So yeah, that's the Charles Hoskinson thinks that Solana should be a side chain for Cardano news. Will it happen? I mean, does anyone, I was going to say, does anyone actually care? But I'm sure there's like at least 3 people who actually care. So we'll see. Well, I assume that this will become a major discussion again when, I almost said Colana, when Solana breaks down once again, because it's happened like 9 times this year. No, it was 10 times this year. Sorry, it was 10 times in 1 year that the database stopped working and they had to restart it because you can always restart a blockchain. That's the Charles Hoskinson is just full of ideas news because he's always talking about something. All right, let's move on. So part of me wishes that I was joking, but I'm not. That was all the news. Everything else revolves around the never-ending story. Right. So think about that. The only news today was that Charles Hoskinson is trying to get Solana to become a sidechain. Everything else is part of this 5-week-long legacy that will not end for whatever reason. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says crypto blame game back on U.S. Senators menu following Sam Bankman-Fried's arrest. For those of you who missed it, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested yesterday by the Bahamas authorities. We're going to be getting into that in a couple of seconds or minutes as well, because there's, of course, a lot to go over there. What was the other point? Oh, everyone's pointing fingers back at each other once again, because it has been revealed that allegedly, for those of you who don't know, there have been a lot of people who have been giving money to U.S. senators and congressmen. It was not just Sam Bankman-Fried. I would appreciate if you knew how your own country was run, because I don't understand why people are just assuming that it was just Sam Bankman-Fried who was giving money to politicians. And apparently a lot of that money that's been floating around between the cryptocurrency industry. Now people are pointing fingers, talking about who did what and who got money from who and how much money they got and all this other stuff. And I mean, in 2 months' time, no one will remember anything about the senators or the congressional people and how much money they got. They're simply doing it because they have to act like they're good people, because that's just how you lie as a politician. The Bahamas security regulator has slammed the new FTX CEO over misstatements. So allegedly, what took place is that the Bahamas told Sam Bankman-Fried to mint new digital assets. As a result of the failure of FTX in November, officials from the Bahamas government are said to have requested that Sam Bankman-Fried, and I quote, mint new digital assets worth hundreds of millions of dollars, according to a statement made by lawyers for FTX in a court filing. So for those of you who missed that, once again, because I keep seeing that people are constantly missing the fact that this actually happened. A couple of weeks ago, we had news that there was a hack at FTX, and apparently that hack was no hack at all. It was allegedly, and I'm pretty sure we had in the video, I think we also had a tweet from the Bahamas securities regulator, that they told Sam Bankman-Fried to basically break into the system because they wanted, the securities regulator, in the Bahamas, they wanted control over the assets that FTX had left over. The other news is, people keep forgetting that the hack was actually the Bahamas regulator, and it wasn't some malevolent person behind a computer screen wearing a hoodie. The second part is that they apparently also allegedly told Sam Bankman-Fried to create new money worth millions and millions of dollars to actually start paying off collateral or some other debts or something like that. But part of the problem is that was the issue from the beginning. It was that Sam Bankman-Fried and the people from FTX basically created fake money by creating other fake coins that they then used to actually buy things and pay off other debts that they also had. So, once again, right. So everything keeps revolving around the Bahamas, and I don't understand how no one is connecting anything at this point. And especially after doing all that they did, they also arrested Sam Bankman-Fried. The Bahamas almost has nothing to do with this entire story, but they're trying to desperately make it about themselves in some sort of way, and I'm not really exactly sure why. It could just be for attention. It could just be because they're trying to actually play a role in the growth or the destruction of the cryptocurrency space. I haven't yet figured it out, but at some point, someone's going to slip and they're going to say something nonsensical. So the news is that the securities regulator, there we go, moving back over, slammed the new FTX CEO over misstatements, basically talking about, what's going on? What are you guys doing? What's happening? And they're like, nothing. We're trying to secure liberty and the pursuit of happiness and justice. And it's like, okay, well, something seems a bit odd because you guys are constantly coming into the news. You guys were the hack that happened on the exchange, and then you told Sam Bankman-Fried to create millions of dollars to be able to pay off something that none of us are actually aware of. So, the plot thickens and all that other kind of stuff. Also in the news, for those of you who missed it, Binance is going through some really weird stuff over the last 36 hours, somewhere around there. Binance's CEO Changpeng Zhao says his company will survive the crypto winter. I'm sure. I don't think that anything actually terrible is going to be happening to Binance, but in the last couple of hours, a lot of people have been withdrawing huge amounts of money from their exchange. It says Changpeng Zhao issues a memo to Binance staff amid heavy withdrawal. So for those of you who missed it, a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space keep forgetting that reality exists. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Simply because things keep happening in the outside world, outside of crypto, and people within the cryptocurrency space continue to believe that these things aren't happening or simply don't understand that these things are actually taking place. It says Binance's Changpeng Zhao mentioned that FTX's crypto exchange horrible collapse is the main reason behind these conditions. Incorrect. For those of you who missed it yesterday, Binance and Changpeng Zhao both individually are being investigated by the DOJ, the Department of Justice from the United States of America. Why? Is it here? Wait, it says huge withdrawals, business as usual. Is it here? No. Is it here? There we go. The idea is that for those of you who missed it, back in 2018 up until now, the Department of Justice has been investigating Binance and Changpeng Zhao for, I believe it's money laundering, it's sanction something, sending money to countries that are under U.S. sanctions, and something, basically not having paperwork. That was the other thing. So remember how like Binance was like in a real rush last year to get as much paperwork as they possibly could. And now they're all happy with every single country because they have a stack of paperwork that's been signed by someone from that country. Apparently, the DOJ has been looking into Binance and Changpeng Zhao, and they said that since 2018 that they've been basically sending money or allowing money to flow to countries that are under U.S. Sanctions jurisdictions, which means it's a no-no. You cannot do that because, America runs the world. And then the other part was that they were apparently doing things that dealt with money transmitting when they did not have money transmitting licenses. And therefore, this constitutes as money laundering within Binance. So Binance is not doing well because of FTX, and everyone's now being like, oh no, we have to take money. No, it's because Binance is being investigated. And apparently the news that we got yesterday is that the DOJ is trying to figure out if or when they should try to bring Changpeng Zhao to justice. That's why we see a huge amount of money being taken off of the website. It says Binance's CEO Changpeng Zhao calls huge withdrawals business as usual, but they're not, because I think roughly around $3.3 billion were actually taken off of the exchange over the course of 24 hours. It says Binance witnesses huge outflows over proof of reserve concerns. Also incorrect. People in this space are so stupid it drives me absolutely insane. The idea is that the news floating around is that people don't want to admit to themselves that Changpeng Zhao might actually be under investigation, because it once again makes the entire cryptocurrency space look really bad, that everyone ran from the arms of Sam Bankman-Fried into the arms of Changpeng Zhao. So they're mentioning that it has to do with the proof of reserve concerns. For those of you who missed that yesterday, Binance is one of the very few exchanges who actually announced that they were showing their proof of reserves, how much money they had on their cryptocurrency exchange. However, authorities within the United States don't believe it, and a lot of other people within the cryptocurrency space who are generally always skeptical of something believe that the numbers that Binance provided may actually not be correct and were simply coming from a company who may have done an audit that may not have actually been an audit as well. The idea being is that Binance announced that they were going to have an audit for their money on their exchange, and that they would then show everyone how much money they had, that it was actually backing the amount of cryptocurrencies that they had on their platform. The audit came out. It showed that they had 101% of what they had. So, we have 100% of Bitcoin on our exchanges, but we're holding 101% as extra collateral should something else go wrong. Period. Got it. However, regulators in the United States are now looking into it, and people within the cryptocurrency space saying that this wasn't an actual audit. It was allegedly simply a company who wrote some numbers down, and then that was presented to us as a fact when we ourselves, us, allegedly also still don't have any idea as to how much money they actually have on their exchange. So people are now questioning the proof of reserves, saying, once again, in air quotes, that Binance might not have all the money that they stated that they had sometime last week. And also, the Department of Justice is also now investigating, and has been for the last 4 years, Binance over money laundering, not having paperwork, and sanctions, breaking sanctions or something like that. And now the authorities are trying to figure out if they should take him to justice. I think I covered everything. That's why so much money, $3.3 billion has left Binance over the course of the last 24 hours, as people are once again afraid that another exchange might have problems. I feel like Binance probably has the money, but we've all been tricked before. I feel like, no, I won't even say it, because whatever I say, the opposite will end up happening. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that they actually do have the money that they were talking about, because if not, expect cryptocurrency prices to once again collapse. Maybe, no. I hope that one day people understand the reasoning behind Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and one day understand that they can actually custody the coins themselves, so that we can move away from situations like this. So that if another cryptocurrency exchange in the future happens to be fraudulent, we can all simply go, oh, wow, that sucks for them. Good thing I'm self-custodying my own coins because we live in the future. I believe that's all the Binance, very huge portion of the news floating around today. Also in the news, it says Australia moves to tighten safety around crypto in 2023. Can you guess why? It's 3 letters, and it's not ABC. Yep, it's because of FTX. A lot of, what do you call it? Governments, regulators around the world are now announcing that because of the terrible, abysmal collapse of FTX, which no one assumed was coming, now they all have to start regulating cryptocurrencies and make sure that they make it a safe place for investors. Not in 2016, not in 2018, not in 2019, 2020, 2021. And here we go, not even in 2022, but next year. That's the year when governments will actually finally start caring about their people. So everyone look forward to that next year because it's going to be a bit of a doozy because other countries are also announcing the exact same thing, how they can't wait to help out the cryptocurrency space because they've been meaning to do it for a while, but they're not. Also, has anyone seen any news about U.S. regulations? Oh, no, still nothing? Okay, because they don't care about their own people. Also in the news, Bahamas Magistrate Court has denied Sam Bankman-Fried request for bail. So a lot of people were shocked that he tried to get bail. That's how it always works. You put in for bail because you don't want to sit in a jail cell. I don't know how that has eluded people for this many years that you've all been alive, but alas, here we are. So of course, your people behind the scenes always put in for bail. His bail request was denied. The amount of articles I saw saying basically in no uncertain terms, I'm paraphrasing here, LOL, Sam Bankman-Fried has to sit in jail for Christmas, were out of this world. They almost eclipsed the Binance news floating around out there. Nope. I'm gonna move on from there. So yeah, he tried to get out, or rather, his people posted bail for him. It didn't work out, so now he has to sit where he is for however extra long these things end up happening. And people were happy about it. So I wonder what your lives are like that you find so much joy in other people's pain. And I mean, not even just Sam Bankman-Fried. I can only imagine that. Anyway, that's the, oh no, deny for bail news. What else is going on? Stringent crypto regulation incoming after FTX collapse. This is warned by the Thai SEC. Can you guess why? Yeah, the FTX collapse spurred action from yet another financial watchdog. These people do not care about anyone. This all has to do with attention. The Thailand Securities and Exchange Commission is gearing up to impose more stringent regulations on crypto assets, similar to that of the global market in a bid to protect investors. This has nothing at all to do with protecting investors. It has to do with control. This is part of the reason why I think this was all coordinated in some sort of way. You can tinfoil hat me to the moon and back. Doesn't this all seem a little bit weird that this is all happening at the exact same time? Do you remember? And here we go. Here's the fact that we have proof of it. This is the craziest part. Back in 2000, very end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, we had a flurry of interest into the cryptocurrency space. Prices began to fall. We had Bitcoin futures starting in America, and everyone was like, wee! And then the prices started going down as well as prices began to collapse. You remember what happened? Every single, you can go find my old videos, every single country on the planet began to announce that they were going to be banning cryptocurrencies. We're banning it. It's terrible. We're banning it. It's awful. It's horrible. No one should be using it. It's a threat to our peoples and blah, 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 whatever they decided to say to themselves. And they were all going to regulate. They were all going to have stringent this and they were all going to have that. Remember when they were banning cryptocurrency ads? Yeah, remember that when like you couldn't have it on your phone. You couldn't have it on the internet. You couldn't have it on even on like what do you call it? Like bus stops. Remember that? Like when countries were banning cryptocurrency, and it was so weird. The weirdest part, at least to me, was the fact that we heard from the former head of the CFTC in the United States that this was all actually planned. He said on stage sometime in 2020, sometime around there, where he basically said the entire reason why we had Bitcoin futures in the United States is because the Trump administration had realized that Bitcoin was becoming too big. And they needed to launch something that would allow people to be able to bet against the price of Bitcoin. So they fast-tracked Bitcoin futures because they knew that the institutions wanted Bitcoin futures so that they could short the price of Bitcoin. They shorted the price of Bitcoin to drop as low as they humanly could. I think it hit 20,000 and fell down to 3,000 something. And that was enough course for the regulators to be able to say, now we have to regulate. This place is crazy. This place is terrible. It's the same exact thing all over again, but with cryptocurrency exchanges. Why cryptocurrency exchanges? Because all the largest banks on the planet have announced that they want to get into the cryptocurrency space. Don't forget about that. Even more so, if it was just Fidelity, JP Morgan Chase, and BlackRock, all three of them have announced that they are now in the cryptocurrency space. They want to get control over the space because they're worth trillions of dollars. Did you think that they want to sit on the sidelines? So the news that we constantly have that these crypto exchanges are falling, or proof of reserves and all these other things are falling apart. Not that they're nonsense, but banks also do not have to provide proof of reserves ever. That's not how banks work. Banks run on debt. They can create money whenever they want to. Like literally, like this is how it works. You can go on the main banking computer and create new money to give out loans. At the end of the year or some point in the quarter, you go to your central bank and say, this is the money that we created to actually create the loans. And then they give you the money for it. They can create money out of thin air. None of this is actually real. Like the entire idea of the fiat system is nonsensical. This is why we have crypto. I'm going to repeat that every single day until people actually get it. That's the point of Bitcoin. You can look on the blockchain and see how many coins are moving. I can look at your wallet and see you have 5 Bitcoin. You can't lie to me and say you have 5,000 Bitcoin. It would make no sense. I can look at your address. So anyway, the point is, I find all this regulation stuff a little weird. Will a lot of countries do it? No, because I'm certain that a lot of these people in the crypto in these countries are also deeply into crypto as well, and it would also hurt their wallets. It's just a game. It's always just a song and dance that needs to be played. We are the regulators. We're here to regulate and help our people, but then once another event happens and pops up and something else comes up more important, they forget about actually helping and providing for their citizens. It's the same thing over and over and over. FTX used client assets for margin trading at Alameda. This was confirmed by the bankruptcy lawyer. John Ray confirmed what many industry leaders expected and what Sam Bankman-Fried has avoided directly stating. That's stupid and doesn't make any sense. Do you want to know why? Because of course they were. I could have told you that without even having known what FTX was. Once again, they used client assets for margin trading. Do you know why I could have told you that? Because guess who else does that? Guess who else uses client funds for trading? I bet you won't guess. It starts with a B and ends with an ank. Yeah, it's banks. Remember a couple days ago when everyone got really mad at me in the comment section? Oh yeah, I see your stupid comments. When people were writing, I can't believe you, TMI, that sounds ridiculous. How could you write that? When I said that Sam Bankman-Fried technically, I'm not even air quoting, technically didn't really do anything wrong. Because if he had actually defrauded especially a bunch of rich people, he would be in the United States right now. I'm not sure if you know how the US works or functions or operates. If he had messed with the bigwigs and had actually done something wrong to steal money from them, he would be in Rikers right now. The issue is that everything that the cryptocurrency exchange FTX did is probably the exact same thing that Binance does. The exact same thing, probably, allegedly, that Coinbase does. Allegedly, Kraken. They all do the exact same thing. You know that, so remember in the long ago, like, 500 years ago, when you would put money in a bank and at the end of the year, you would get 5% back on your money and everyone's like, whoa, how does the bank do that? As a kid, you think it's magic. As an adult, you realize that banks actually take your money and they trade with it. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Banks take your money that you have custodied with them in your bank account and they trade the global markets with it. They know how to play the markets and how to manipulate the markets. So they typically, at the end of the year, will make a good couple $1 billion from the trades of the money in their bank. Then at the end of the year, when they see that over the course of 12 months, you've held that money with them as a thank you for using your money. I know I'm blowing someone's mind right now. For using your money, they give you that 0.1% back. That's why it's so nonsensical, because they could, in all essence, actually be giving you 6 or 7% back on your money. But they figured out that people will still hold their money with the bank no matter how little they give you, because they've convinced all of us to continue holding our money with them. So, of course, FTX was using client funds for margin trading and for leverage trading. I mean, allegedly. I wasn't there. I don't know. We can only assume that that's what was happening. Remember when I told you before the other day when I was like, they created fake money and they were using that to trade and buy up assets? What do you think do you think they're the only crypto exchange on the planet to do this? Do you think they're the only company or industry to do this? How do none of you know how finance works? I'm completely, my mind is boggled every single day. When I say do your own research, I mean it. Every single time that I say something that sounds crazy, offbeat, left field, right at it, not a term, but you understand what I'm talking about. Google it yourself. Dig very deep into what I'm saying. Of course they were doing this. What did you think they were doing? This is what everyone else in the industry does. Why do you think these companies have these funding rounds? Funding A, funding B, and funding C. It's to get money that they can use. They are then in debt to these other people. They have to use this money from these funding rounds to build up the company, to build up their assets, and to build up other things so that they have extra cash flow to be able to pay back to the people they're in debt to. Like, what in the world is going on that no one knows how any of this works? How is this possible? How is this possible that 95% of people in crypto have no idea how any of this actually works? Everything that is alleged against Sam Bankman-Fried is something that every other industry player is also doing. They're all the exact same person. I don't understand. Like, what do you think is happening within this space? You think that people are using the actual money that they have? No. You use client funds. You use other things that you don't have. You create fake money and you leverage it. You push it as hard as you possibly can into an asset or into a market that you know is being properly manipulated. Do you remember the entire thing with GameStop? Watch the Netflix documentary on the entire GameStop fiasco. Do you want to know why rich people were so upset that normal people were actually in GameStop? Is because they had rigged the market. I am not putting, no, it's not a tinfoil hat thing. Take it off. Right. The entire point is they knew that the company was going to collapse. So they all began to short it in anticipation of the drop that they knew was going to happen because they had pushed the market in that direction. They were all set to make hundreds of millions of dollars. If the price of it goes up, it's not air quotes supposed to go in that direction. So the rich people end up losing money. They know how to make all the money. They made and created the system. They have rigged everything for themselves. And a lot of people don't get that because they think or want to become part of that system. People want to become so rich and so fancy and all this other stuff that they'll let the corruption happen in front of them. And even when they're presented with the fact that something corrupt has happened, they go, well, you know, I made a couple bucks. Do none of you remember the 2008, 2009 collapse? No one out there? What do you think those people in the banks were doing? It wasn't just giving out fraudulent loans. They were leveraging other funds that they did not have. It was fake debt that they had created to buy themselves 15 homes. It's nonsense. Please, for the love of your wallet, for the love of your money, look up how all of this works. Nearly everything that he's been accused of at this point, why do you think I haven't been shocked? Why do you think I'm not like, oh man, he's a terrible monster? It's because they're all doing the exact same thing. But everyone in crypto is so willing to be complicit and complacent with all of this because they're just trying to rapidly make money. If we could flush out all the demons from the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin's price would skyrocket. So anyway, yeah, the news is people are pretty upset. You know, he was margin trading. I've never heard of that before. It's almost like it's not even a term. Where was that term created from? It's not like the people from the industry have been doing it the entire time. That's super weird. Let's move on. Also in super popular news, and I'm not even sure how this became even remotely popular. Goldman Sachs has stated that gold is a better long-term investment than Bitcoin. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We know that Goldman Sachs is into crypto. That's not a surprise for anyone. We know that most banks tend to be quite corrupt. This is nothing new there. So I'm going to assume that Goldman Sachs stated this because they're trying to get people to buy gold and stay away from Bitcoin because they themselves are buying Bitcoin. That's why I said the benefit of the doubt. I get that it's an evil statement for them to say that, but I'm going to just assume this is normal banking practice. Why, you might ask? Why? Because whenever I see something really stupid and I'm able to Google it in a couple of seconds, I do it. I've heard this since around 2011, 2012, if you can believe it. This is what stopped me from getting into Bitcoin and crypto all those years ago when Bitcoin was 50 cents or $1. It's because news like this scares people and they go, oh yeah, I heard bad stuff about that Bitcoin. What's that ABX thing that collapsed a couple of days? No. I'm going to go buy gold. And people go buy gold. We find more gold every single year on the planet. Don't know who missed that part. I watched a documentary one time, and I implore you to do the same, about the production of gold and how to find more gold. And not one of those like fluff pieces where they're like, oh yeah, gold is amazing. I have tons of gold in my portfolio. It's usually these men who are desperately trying to convince themselves. Look at how much more gold, like their charts. It shows how much more gold we find every single year comparative to the last year or the last decade before. Technology continues to increase rapidly every single year. We now have better methods of finding gold than we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. That's just how technology works. Your phone is better than it was 10 years ago. 20 years ago, you didn't have a smartphone. Think of how much better your smartphone is going to be in 25 years. So the fact that we keep finding more gold has been a very huge pressure point for the price of gold because you can't be scarce if we keep finding more of you. We also have very good information that there's probably tons of gold on other planets. During the creation of the universe and as everything was spit out from whatever center might have been, we now have indications that our planet might not be as special as we believe. Other planets might be more gaseous. They might have lower oxygen levels, higher CO2 levels, whatever the case might be. But we're all made of the exact same material. Some of them might have higher radiation levels because of the sun. It's all different. We believed, because of stories from 2,000 years ago, that gold was rare and was just on this planet. Guess what? It's probably in asteroids as well. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. So the idea that gold is rare at all is completely nonsensical because we can look at the numbers and see that it's not. Same exact thing for diamonds. Watch a diamond industry documentary. Gonna blow your mind. Diamonds aren't rare at all. Back in the 1800s, when a lot of people were using African resources and power and time and energy and draining whatever they could from the African continent, they began to realize that they found tons of diamonds. And diamonds were, people used to wear them. They used to put them in jewelry and stuff like that. But it wasn't anything as big as it currently is right now. By the 1910s, I believe it was De Beers and two other companies. I don't know what they are. They had an egregious excess in the amount of diamonds that they actually had or wanted to have. So they began to make ad campaigns basically telling men in different countries, mainly in Europe and in the North American regions, that the only way to keep a woman is by giving her something expensive. What lasts forever? It's a diamond. It's created by millions of years of pressure under the earth. We found it. Now give it to the one who you're going to love forever as well. The crazy part is it worked. By the 20s and 30s, they had so many different ad campaigns to convince people that diamonds were completely rare. They begin to sell more and more. And the idea also was, here's a really crazy one. The idea is that you can't buy a used diamond. Why do they say that? Because they want you continuously buying brand new diamonds. The idea of buying a used diamond is that you bought a diamond that another man gave to another woman that he loved, and therefore you can't give that to your woman because you love her more than he did. So you have to buy a brand new diamond. Everything is just capitalism. It's just money. It's just how the world works. I'm telling you, watch a diamond scarcity documentary. Going to blow your mind when you realize how everything is just about marketing. Bringing it on back to the Goldman Sachs gold is a better long-term investment than Bitcoin. Here's a little chart right here. For those of you who are looking at the screen, this right here, this yellow line right here is if you had put $1 into gold. This line right here, keeps going over here, you would have $1.76 if you had put $1 into gold when Bitcoin was created. This orange line is if you had put $1 into Bitcoin, you would currently have $23,273,800. The price of gold has barely moved. Even with all of our volatility, the price of Bitcoin has skyrocketed. This happens every single couple of years. There's always something. There's always some bank, some institution who's always talking about if you put money into this market, you would have. It's always a lie. That's why I say the fact that I can find this information in seconds is nonsensical. And I don't understand why these banks and companies continue to lie as if this information, no one can find it. It's just simply completely unfindable. This purple line is how much Bitcoin you need to buy an ounce of gold. You see it keeps on dropping because as Bitcoin becomes more expensive, you need less and less Bitcoin to actually buy an ounce of gold. This took me seconds to find. Over the last 13 years, gold has not been any type of good investment, especially comparing it to Bitcoin. I assume this news will be relatively the same by the time we get to a $100,000 Bitcoin. People will still be saying gold is it. What's that guy's name? Peter Schiff? Is it him, the guy who loves gold? I don't know how you can mentally do that. I don't know how you can, but people do all the time. How you can lie to yourself when you know, if I can look at this chart and go, oh my gosh, I'm never going to buy gold. It's like the worst investment in the entire world. How you can still try and tell people that them being into Bitcoin is dumb or stupid or they should not be there. When you can look at the chart and see that gold hasn't moved. You would have, if you had put $1, you would have $1.76. That's the Goldman Sachs gold versus Bitcoin nonsensical news, because I think they're just, it's clear to me that they're buying up crypto, but they're trying to deflect and let other people believe that they should be buying some other type of garbage. Gold is not rare. Neither are diamonds. I know that that really hurts someone to the core, but look it up. You'll be a better person afterwards if you realize the lies that have been told to you. You'll be a lot better off. Also in the news, Canadian authorities tightening controls on crypto trading networks, blah, 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 blah. It has to do with the entire idea. FTX collapsed. FTX bad. Worst thing in the entire world. We now have to protect our citizens. They didn't care about us before, but thank you, Sam Bankman-Fried, for letting governments now care about their citizens. It only took so long, but we finally got here. Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Martin Stroyer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mobarazzi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quarterbitty, Troy, All Good, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Patrick, Nostar, Navarre, Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Adam Graysick, The Animal Reader, and Bibliophobia, there we go. Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Mongs Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho Nisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to everyone who left a like, a comment, has subscribed, who hit the notification bell, who is here every single day. And also, shout out to everyone who's not afraid of the truth. I know that sounds ridiculous, but so many times over the years, I keep telling people what's happening, what's a scam, what's really going on, and very few people believe me. The numbers that the other scammy crypto channels are pulling in are absolutely wild, but people don't want real news. They want fake glorified news, especially when you can point a finger. Sam Bankman-Fried is not the only person doing what he did. I don't know who needs to hear that. He's a vile, wicked creature from the depths of the hell below, but he's not the only person doing what he did. Stop believing in false prophets, especially within the cryptocurrency space. They don't care about you. They just want your money. At the moment, Bitcoin is up by 2.34%. It is at $17,828. Just a smidge away from 18,000. Nothing stopping it. Ethereum is up by 3.3%. Binance Coin is, oh, wow, look at Binance Coin is up by 2. XRP is actually struggling a little bit, up by 1.5. Doge is up by 1.9. OKB, never mind. It has like terrible trading volume, so there's someone manipulating it. Litecoin is up by 2%. Polkadot is up by 2. Solana is up by 6%, maybe off of the Cardano sidechain news. Could be. Avalanche is up by 6 percentile points. Cosmos is up by 5. Ethereum Classic is up by 3.5 as well. Algorand is up by 3.2%. Very low trading volume, but they did have some pretty big news, which is kind of surprising that people keep forgetting about Algorand. Near Protocol is up by 6.7 percentile points. EOS is up by 3% off of no news at all. Good job to them. Woo! I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, great afternoon, or great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.